Oh, here it is. Yeah, I'm back. So after being on hiatus for the last couple of months, I wanted to come back to the channel with a fun video, discussing new Apple products, cool future technologies, Elon Musk losing his mind. Look, I'll accept you dating Grimes, but a candy store is where I start to get concerned. And we will get to all of those things, eventually. But for now, we need to talk about something that is going to affect the way media is produced and shared going forward in the future, and that is the AT&T Time Warner mega merger. On June 14th, after the Justice Department announced it would not seek an injunction to stop the deal, AT&T completed its buyout of Time Warner for $85.4 billion. Let me say that again, $85.4 billion. And you know Time Warner still told the folks at AT&T to expect them sometime between noon and 6 p.m. And this isn't just the buyout of their cable and internet services. This buyout also includes Time Warner's entertainment portfolio, which includes HBO, CNN, and Warner Brothers Studios. However, you have to admit that you are now going to be on the lookout for the next AT&T commercial starring Anderson Cooper, Jon Snow, and Harry Potter. They're looking for a family plan, but John's always at work. It's a whole thing. But seriously, I don't want my light and admittedly somewhat lame jokes to make this seem like it's something minor. It's not. This is not only one of the biggest deals that AT&T has made, but it's also one of the biggest deals in modern media history. And if you think that's hyperbolic, you don't have to look much further than the assets that will now be under the influence of AT&T. One of the most notable companies owned by Time Warner is the illustrious CNN. This presents a problem for a few reasons. One is that CNN will now be under the strong influence of AT&T deciding what news stories to run. It's kind of like if you were to go to a parent-teacher conference at your kid's school, and instead of the teacher, it's your kid. Yeah, Billy has just been the best lately. He didn't start a fight in the last 5 days, and I think that qualifies him to a new Xbox. Companies like AT&T, even though they're not supposed to, will more than likely tell news companies like CNN to leave out the news stories that put AT&T in a bad light. It's like that expression, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Except imagine instead of that hand giving you food, that hand just gave you $85.4 billion. And with news outlets like CNN being partial to major media buyouts and mergers like this, that opens the floodgates to even more companies merging and buying each other out to create fewer and fewer choices for consumers. Just a few to mention would include the T-Mobile-Sprint merger, which would leave the United States with only 3 major cellular networks. Another possible merger is the CBS-Viacom merger, which, incidentally, has been put into question lately by the fact, and this is true, Verizon has posed an interest in buying CBS. And, of course, the buyout battle that has been in the news for the last few weeks. The Walt Disney Company and Comcast multi-billion-dollar bids for 21st Century Fox and their assets. Now, at this point, it looks like Disney is going to be the one to get Fox. But could you imagine if Comcast would have gotten it? Remember, Comcast owns NBC, and 21st Century Fox owns Fox News. If you thought Avengers Infinity War was an ambitious crossover, imagine Tucker Carlson alongside Pete Davidson from Saturday Night Live. And if you think a company owning 2 polar opposite companies could never happen, try bringing that up to Unilever, the company that owns both Dove Body Wash and Axe Body Spray. And if you find that a little bit hard to swallow, just grab a pint of Ben & Jerry's. Unilever owns them too. This is pretty much what the media landscape is becoming now. We're still going to have all the same networks and channels we do now, but they will all be owned by 2 or 3 different companies. And those same companies will be the ones who provide the internet service to all of this media. And as I say again, this is where the importance of net neutrality comes into play more than ever. When you have companies like AT&T controlling broadband and owning CNN, Comcast controlling broadband and owning NBC, and possibly Verizon controlling broadband and owning CBS, what motivation do any of these companies have to allow any other news services through their internet connections? In the end, all of this spells out a bleaker future for those looking to find news sources that are independent of multi-billion-dollar parent companies that could possibly have an interest in making sure certain news doesn't end up making it to the public. It's also going to make it much harder for content creators going forward, because how is someone with nothing more than a camera and a Wi-Fi connection going to be able to compete with all of this when it's owned by just these guys. But hey, in another 20 years, when the Justice Department approves of the AT&T, Disney, Comcast, Verizon super merger, just imagine the crossovers we'll be able to get.